Hey guys, I'm Kalila Reynolds and it's time for another episode of Money Mondays, brought to you in partnership with Proven Wealth and the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Well, the big news last week was the official announcement of the upcoming Trans Jamaican Highway IPO. As soon as I tweeted it, my timeline just blew up with a whole lot of excitement, but we still don't have any details, and I'd strongly encourage you to wait until the prospectus is out before you get excited. Everybody's been asking me if I think it's a good investment, but there's no honest way I can answer that question right now without knowing what's actually going to be offered. How much is the government paying for it? At what price will they sell it to us? How much debt does the company have? What are the revenues and projections? What are the plans for expansion? So many questions immediately come to mind, and we won't have any answers until we actually see the prospectus. When will that prospectus be out? I'm reliably informed that the government is aiming to open the IPO before the end of the year. So let me tell you what I do know so far. It's expected to be by far the largest IPO ever in Jamaica's history, both in terms of the number of subscribers and the amount of money raised. Right now, Wigton holds the record for the most number of subscribers, over 30,000. And at the press launch last week, the Finance Minister, Dr. Nigel Clark, said they're expecting 2 or maybe 3 multiples of that for Trans Jamaica, so as many as 90,000 subscribers. Wow, massive. Now, bear in mind that before Wigton, the largest number of subscribers was for Wysinco, about 10,000. So they're really setting the bar high, and they'll have to do a lot of public education and promotion to meet that target. By the way, Wysinco also holds the record for the largest amount of money raised in an IPO, $6 billion. They actually got offers totaling $17 billion, so they were almost 3 times oversubscribed. That was in late 2017. So how much money is the government likely to seek for Trans Jamaica? I've heard the figures $10 billion and as much as $11 billion being bandied about. But to meet these landmark targets, they're going to need not only massive public buy-in, but also huge take-up from larger investors like pension funds. So again, it will take a lot of work and promotion. If you thought Wigton was everywhere, billboards, radio, TV, expect Trans Jamaica to be like that on steroids. That's why this big launch months before the prospectus is even ready. Now let me give you a little background about Trans Jamaican Highway. It's owned by the French company Bouygues, which has a 35-year BOOT concession. Now BOOT, B-O-O-T, stands for Build, Own, Operate, Transfer. So it simply means that the agreement was for Bouygues to build the highway, then own and operate it for 35 years, after which it would be transferred to the government. Now, that agreement started in 2001, and it's now 2019, so they're 18 years in, although I'm not sure if they count from 2001 or from 2003, when the first toll plaza opened. But either way, there are now plans to end the concession early. I also don't know who initiated these talks, if it was Bouygues that wanted to get out for whatever reason, or the Jamaican government that wanted the highway in local hands earlier than planned. According to Dr. Clark, though, the government has no interest in owning and operating a highway. Their desire is for the Jamaican people to own it directly, hence the IPO. But before the IPO, the government has to first buy back the highway from Bouygues. And no word yet on how much that's going to cost, but I hear it's going to be financed through a loan. And then I guess they'll be able to pay off the loan using the proceeds from the IPO. Dr. Clark was kind of ambiguous about that point at the press conference. So what all falls under Trans Jamaica Highway? We're talking about 3 legs of the east-west toll road. It's that whole stretch from Kingston to Maypen Clarendon, passing through St. Catherine, and the Portmore toll road, which we all know is doing quite well. There's always traffic on the Portmore toll. There have been reports that the Portmore toll pulls in as much as $8 million a day. See, I can't whistle. If I could whistle properly, I'd do it right now. But according to chairman of the National Road Operating and Construction Company, NROC, Philip Henriquez, more than 70,000 people use the toll roads daily. I'm not sure if that number also includes the new north-south toll road or just the roads under Trans Jamaica. Another thing that Dr. Clark said at last week's launch that I found interesting, he said there will be over $100 billion worth of opportunities for investment in road infrastructure over the next 5 years, as the Holness administration will be pursuing several other major road projects. There are plans for an Anota Bay bypass, a Runaway Bay bypass, an Oracabessa bypass, a Lucy bypass, and you may have already heard about the Montego Bay bypass, all in the next 5 years. Wow, talk about ambitious. And if they get it done, it would make cross-country travel so much easier and faster. Now, of course, there's no guarantee that Trans Jamaica Highway will get the contracts for any of these projects. They'll have to submit a competitive bid just like everybody else. And you know who they'll be competing against. You guessed it, the Chinese. China Harbor Engineering Company, Czech most likely, which finished the North-South Highway after Bouygues couldn't manage and had to abandon it. But Dr. Clark has mentioned these projects to point out that as a company that builds, owns, and operates highways, there are lots of upcoming opportunities for Trans Jamaica to possibly expand. Now, what else do we know so far? Well, NCB Capital Markets is the lead broker and arranger for the deal. I'm actually not surprised that they were chosen given the success and ease of their Go IPO platform and the sheer volume of applications that will have to be processed. And like Mayberry did with Wigton, NCB says all brokers will be engaged as selling agents. Not only that, they say they will be making Go IPO available to all brokers as well. That's fantastic news. So this is what we know so far. Watch this space for further updates. As soon as I know, you'll know. I usually post breaking money news on my Twitter and Instagram stories, so make sure you follow me there and turn on post notifications at Kalila Ray. Oh guys, I have an announcement. So my new show will be premiering on YouTube on October 28th. Thanks so much for your overwhelming support for the pilot episode of Taking Stock. Still haven't decided if I'm going to keep that name or change it to More Money with Kalila Reynolds, but I'll let you know. Your support is what's making this a reality. It's a longer format show, so it's more suitable for YouTube, so you definitely want to subscribe over there, youtube.com/Kalila Ray. Thanks for watching again, guys. Always my pleasure serving you. I'm Kalila Reynolds. That's it for this episode of Money Mondays, brought to you in partnership with Proven Wealth and the Jamaica Stock Exchange. See you next week.